Cindi Lamb Publications presents I'm Not Mad Anymore, A Shift in Judgment, the true story of tragedy, revenge, and crazy grace, written and narrated by Cindi Lamb on YouTube, Substack, wherever you listen to podcasts, and on cindylamb.com. Or just Google my name, Cindi Lamb. That's Cindy with 2 I's and Lamb as in Mary had a little. And thanks for listening. The Visitor. I need to talk to you, Linda. I'm getting consumed with this thought, this dream. I don't even know what to call it, except it's becoming more real in my mind. I think about it all day during the day. I dream about it when I go to bed. But it's never a nightmare, I tell her. I'm not afraid. I'm overjoyed when I'm done. I didn't even knock on her door. I just opened it and busted in, all blustery and perturbed. Her row home in Charlemont Village was my second home, and Linda was always my first set of ears. She's my best friend, but I haven't seen her in a couple of weeks. She's watching her soaps, and she smells like 10 dryer sheets. I love her. It goes like this. Me and my 2 brothers go to the Ridge Inn. We see him sitting at the bar. We strike up a conversation with him and lure him outside with talk of a sweet deal on a souped-up 72 Camaro. We walk and talk past the dumpster, holding him up because he's so drunk. And we laugh about the old drunk bartender. I get chills as I talk. As we walk, my men flank him, and in stereo, they grip his shoulders, twist his arms behind his back, kick out his legs, and take him down, pinning him face down in the gravel and the broken glass, right next to the dumpster. He tries to move, and he wiggles, and he scrapes the skin off his nose and chin, trying to get up, struggling to move. And he bleeds. Such a pity. Now, wait, is this real? Is this something you're planning or what? She asks. Just wait a minute, I tell her. He tries to yell. He tries to get up, but they hold him down. One sitting on him like a cowboy in the middle of his back. The other sitting on his legs. Except for his head, he can't move. Such a shame. I sing-song with ample histrionics. I don't think I like where this is going, Linda says, as she flicks off the bold and the beautiful. I do. I love it. I love this story. I've never said this out loud, but I think the more I tell about it, the more I love it, I tell her, smiling, excited as a kid with a new bike. So I open the trunk of the Camaro and take out the crowbar. I get on all fours and lower my head so my cheek is in the gravel parallel with his face, and I whisper, "Let me see if I can do to you what you did to Laura." And then he spits in my face. "Oh, my God, this is awful," Linda says. "Ha! That ain't nothing." I wipe the spit off with my hand, tussle it in his hair, and I have a little chuckle. I stand up, grab the crowbar with both hands, lob it high over the top of my head, and with all the force of all the hatred I possess, I lunge that metal bar into the back of that motherfucker's neck. Linda's eyes are wide open, and for a moment, she's speechless. "Why are you smiling?" she asks. "Because I'm happy." I keep smiling till my teeth show. "Did you kill him?" "No, oh no. That'd be way too easy on him." "Man, that's awful," she says. "That's not the end of it." Then I get down in the gravel, get in his face again, and snarl softly. "How do you like that, Charles? How does that make you feel?" "Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. You can't feel anything anymore, can you? Then I spit in his face. And it's over. I grin. Oh my God! That's so grisly, she says. You need to catch a buzz. She gets out her stash. How long have you been having this dream? 16 years, I tell her. Wow. And it's never gone away? Nope. Same dream all the time. Never gets worse, never gets better. After the dream, I kind of laugh like Vincent Price. But then the laugh fades into this pitiful, painful, echoing cry. Remember what the loons sounded like at night on Gull Lake up in Ontario when we went fishing? I end up sounding like that. How can you stand this? Linda says. I drink a lot of beer, self-medicate with various sundries. Same thing I've been doing for years, I guess. I hate him so much for what he did to my daughter. It's eating me raw inside. I gotta stop this. I gotta do something. I'm gonna call him. I'm gonna meet with him face to face. Linda's chin dropped. Are you crazy? He threatened to kill you while he was in prison, didn't he? Yeah, but that was a long time ago. Maybe he's changed by now. Maybe he's different, I said. Oh, right. The guy gets bombed out of his mind at 10 in the morning, has 4 prior DWIs, plows into you on the way to the grocery market, smashes your bones, slashes your face, paralyzes your kid from the neck down, threatens to kill you, and you think maybe he's changed? Get a grip, girl. Those kind of people never change, she declares. Well, I called information and got his number. He still lives in Frederick, I told her. You're out of your mind. What if he doesn't want to talk to you? I think he will. What if he says yes and then he tries to kill you? I'll meet him in a public place. What if you meet him and it only makes you feel worse? I don't think it will. Why don't you just go to church and pray or something? You believe in God, don't you? Hell yeah, I believe in God. But this doesn't have anything to do with God. It has to do with me and Charles Meade Jr. Besides, I don't even go to church, I tell her. So what? She says. So, have you ever had a friend that only comes over to your house when they want something? Yeah. Does it tick you off? Yeah. Well, do you get the point? I still think you're nuts, she says. Why don't you just let it go and get on with your life? It's been 16 years, Linda asks. I don't know. You're not the first person to tell me that, I tell her. I suppose this will go into your book, right? She asks. It will if I can get him to talk to me. I want to know what happened to him. I want to know why he did this to me. I want to tell more than one side of the story. I want to know if he still drinks, if he's still alive, if he's sorry. I just have to do this, Linda. All right. Well, let me know what happens. Call me, okay? I'll worry about you, she says, and blows me a kiss. Charles Meade's phone number stared at me for over a month. It was scribbled on a pale pink sticky note stuck on the side of my hard drive. I finally got the guts to call him. Hello, Charles? I asked. No, this is Lois. Hold on a minute. She had a very deep voice, and I heard her yell for him. I thought I could hear her walking across the floor, but it was just my heart banging in my chest. The phone nearly slipped out of my sweaty palm. Hello? His voice was coarse and gritty, too. Charles? Yes? This is Cindi Lamb. Several seconds of silence and years of pain overlapped. I thought I was going to puke. I thought he was going to hang up on me. Do you remember me? I certainly do, he said solidly. I need to get rid of I'm writing a book about Laura and starting Mad, and I want to I want to talk to you. My speech rambled and trembled along with the rest of me. I took a deep breath and tried to get a hold of myself, but it didn't work. For several minutes, erratic, descriptive vignettes rolled out of my mouth, detailing bits and pieces of my life for the last 20 years, things I didn't want to say, things I didn't even want him to know. I could hear myself babbling like an idiot, but I couldn't do anything to stop it. Tears started to fall off my face like big raindrops, and they fell on the pink sticky note with his number on it until the numbers were mottled altogether. I'm sorry I'm getting so upset, but I've thought about this conversation for years. It's very upsetting to me. My voice quivered. Yes, I know it is. It's upsetting to me. His voice was low and soft. I would really like to talk to you. Well, I don't know about that, he said. How are you? I thought to ask. I wanted to know, and I was surprised he was still alive. I'm fine, he said calmly. How old are you now? I asked. I'm 59, and by the way, I've been sober for 9 years. I covered my mouth and gasped. That's not what I expected. Well, that's wonderful. That's very good news. Congratulations. Congratulations? I'm congratulating the lowlife that killed my daughter? What am I doing? Am I spitting in Laura's face? Maybe I should just find out where he lives and make my dream a reality. Thank you, he said. Will you talk with me? We can meet someplace neutral. Will you talk with me? I don't know. I have to think about this, he said quietly. Why? What's the problem? I said nastily. He heard it in my voice. This is hard for me, too. You don't understand, he said emphatically. You don't know what my life has been like. I know I can never bring Laura back, but you don't know what I go through every day. Besides, what good is it going to do, he said. His patience was waning. I could tell he wanted to hang up. I think if we could sit down and talk, I could explain what good it will do, especially for me. I've been filled with nightmares and hate for over 20 years, and I just want... And you want to meet me somewhere so you can do what to me? You want to write a book and put me through hell again and again? I can't bring her back. His voice was loud, but not demanding. I was losing him. No, wait, please, don't hang up. Just think about it. You don't have to make a decision right now. I'll call you back a week from tonight, okay? A week from tonight, and we'll talk again. All right? I could reach through this phone and fucking kill you. I guess so. I gotta go now. Goodbye. Well, will you meet with me or not? I asked him the following Wednesday night. We chatted lightly. I was calm, and I knew inciting Charles would do me no good. Yes, all right, he said, still reticent. Will you be bringing a gun? He asked. No, I don't think so, I said. But I thought about it seriously. I just couldn't figure out how to conceal my hunting shotgun a 2022 over and under Savage single shot with a 3 to 9 variable scope. It was my deer hunting gun. I know how to use that gun. Good, 'cause I don't heal as good as I used to, he chuckled. We finally agreed to meet at Denny's on Route 40 in Frederick on June 21st. I grew more anxious and tense as the day grew closer. I rehearsed in my head what I would say to him, how I would act. No crying, that's for sure. The day finally arrived. Do you know what he looks like? Ray asked me on the way to the restaurant. No, but he probably looks the same. Long, greasy, black hair, wrinkled clothes, stands with a slouch. I'm sure he hasn't changed much. But that was 23 years ago, and he's been sober for 9 years now. Don't you think he'd be different by now? Ray said. I don't know, I shrugged. I'm sure I'll know him when I see him. We stood in the waiting area at Denny's, and I watched dozens of people come in and out that Saturday morning. I squinted, looking into the eyes of every older man, piercing their glance with my leer, certain I would be able to identify him instinctively. Ray finally grabbed my hand and led me to a table in the back. We ordered breakfast and waited. Hey, Charles, how you doing? Real good, buddy. Real good. How about you? A man was standing behind me, and he was talking to Charles Meade. That's him, I whispered to Ray. Well, if that's him, he doesn't look anything like you said he would, Ray said. What does he look like? I asked. He looks like your grandfather, Ray told me. No way, I said. Grampy Bush or Grandpa Sorensen? Bush. He's got silver hair and thick glasses, and he's dressed nice. Go tell him you're here. Ray was right. As I stood up and turned around, I saw him. He looks just like my Grampy Bush, or anybody's uncle or brother or friend. Just a normal-looking older guy. I'm Cindi, I said to him as I walked towards his table. A powerful surge came over me to lunge at his throat, ram his head through the wall, and kill him any way I could, right then and right there. I know, he said in a low voice, and he extended his hand to me. I did not shake it. Ray and I ordered breakfast, and as soon as we're done, we'll have a chat, okay? I asked. That's fine. Anything you like, he said. He was accommodating. He almost sounded kind. It didn't matter, though. I hate him. I don't know if I can eat anything, Ray, I told my husband as I sat down in our booth. I just want to get this over with so I can go back to camp and drink. He smiled at me and reached across the table to hold my hand. I didn't eat much. Ray finished his meal and got up to go to the restroom. I stared at the fork leaning off my plate. I picked it up, twiddled it, then clutched it tight. It would be so easy to go over there right now and plunge this. Would you like more coffee? The waitress asked me. What? Would you like me to top off your coffee? She asked me again. No thanks, I said. I let go of the fork. Ray came back and said it was time to go talk to him. We went over to his table. Ray sat next to him, and I sat next to Charles's wife, Lois. I couldn't look at him. I couldn't talk. I looked straight down at the table and watched the water from my eyes hit the tabletop. How are you? How have you been? Charles asked me. Fine. Okay. All right. I guess. How about you? Well, I guess I'm all right, he said. We chatted idly for a few minutes. He told me he's been working for the state for the last 7 years, weatherizing homes for people who need special services, like the elderly. He also told me he got his driver's license back. And with that, I just blew a gasket. Why did you do this? Why did you drink so much? How come after 5 DWIs you just kept right on drinking and driving? Don't you care about anything, about anyone? I screamed. Why did you threaten to kill me when you were in jail? Why did you do this to my daughter? Why? I just want to know why. The screaming turned into screaming sobs. He sat, silent, staring at me. I'm sorry. I'll get a hold of myself, I said. And I did. Why did you drink so much? I asked him. For the next half hour, Charles told me about his drinking, how he started drinking young, and how it ended up. I didn't have any big problems or anything like that. I just liked it. What I did have was a bad attitude. I couldn't stand people telling me what to do. You can ask me nice, but don't tell me what to do, he told me. And don't accuse me of something I didn't do. I hate that too. I went into the military when I was 18, and that's all you get in there. Orders, orders. I was out of the military at age 20 with a dishonorable for fighting. He kept talking, and I listened. For the next 15 years, I was in and out of jobs, bars, and jail, and I just kept drinking more and more and more. You put that kind of drinking and that kind of bad attitude together, and well, it's just bad, he continued. Then, one day I lent my stereo to my neighbors, and they wouldn't give it back to me. I took my 357 and blew off their doorknob. I knew I'd go to jail that time. I was on probation. But when I got to court, there was a big screw-up somewhere, and they let me go. If the probation officers were doing their job, I would have been in jail, and your daughter would still be here today. I was incredulous. He still didn't get it. So you're telling me that my daughter would be alive today if the courts would have done their job, that if they would have locked you up for the assault charge, you wouldn't have been on the street, right? So you take no responsibility for what happened, right? Is that what you're telling me? My voice grew louder. A thin woman and her 2 young boys sat in the corner booth, listening, watching, sopping up every word like gravy. Well, wait, I'm jumping around here. No, I mean, when I hit you and your daughter, I got 2 years for the crash and 5 years for violating my last probation. I did 5 years altogether. I had 5 years to lay there and think about you. He sipped his coffee. I shut up. He went on. I had a guy on my left that was in for murder. He got 30 years. The guy to my right of me was in for manslaughter and doing 20. And here I am, in the middle of murderers, doing time for a traffic violation. I could not believe he was saying this to me. He was absolutely clueless. I hated you. Every time you came on TV, when you were starting mad, and you would say my name over and over again. And then the other prisoners, they don't like it when a kid gets hurt. They had to put me in solitaire to protect me more than once. And I had hours and hours and days to think about how I was going to kill you. I figured out a way to do it, he said, eyes squinting. He was back in that cell right now. I could see it in him. And I could feel my Laura again when I held her, hugged her, limbs drooping against my body. I know exactly what you had planned, I said, venom spitting. Because I had the same plan for you. Find out where you hang, where you walk, Then I'd get real drunk and run you over and over and over. It would only be manslaughter, right? Well worth the 5 years or so, right? Wasn't that your plan, too? Yes, he said slowly. He was surprised. Yes, that's it exactly. I didn't think you had that in you. Ha! I scoffed, loud. What? That much hate? How many midnight ambulance trips and helicopter airlifts do you think me and Laura went through? And collapsed lungs, pneumonia, tube feedings, cyanosis, suctioning every 20 minutes, broken legs and arms from a tiny atrophied body, heart failure, chest PT, seizures, green and yellow mucus, tracheostomies and infections and fevers, and on and on. And I was coming unglued again, and everyone knew it. My husband tried to change the topic, and so did Charles's wife. I tried to calm down, lower my voice. I leaned across the table and whispered. And then, to top it all off, after both of us being tortured for 6 long years, I lose the tug-of-war with God, and she dies. I cried again. He sat, arms at his side, silent, motionless, deflated. His tinted glasses hid his eyes. I continued to pummel him with gory recounts of a physically racked, limp, broken little girl, and described in detail my murderous plans for his death. I couldn't stop. Over 20 years of 100% pure hatred and loathing poured out of me like molten iron. I just could not stop. And you didn't think I had that much hatred in me? Do you think you have some kind of patent on hatred? Well, you don't. You never will know. You could never know what you did to my little girl, what you did to me and to my family. Why is he taking this? Why is he just sitting here? So please, spare me of your stupid poor me in prison stories, because you have no idea what suffering is. None. Do you I grabbed the fork and started to get up. That's enough, Ray shouted. He gripped my forearm and slammed it down. Stop it right now. Calm yourself. This is not going to bring her back. This is not helping anyone at all, Ray hollered. He was visibly shaken. I stopped. I stared at Charles. He sat so still, as though he had turned to stone. He stared at me again. We were all quiet for a while. And the lady and her 2 boys in the corner were still watching, still listening. Then small talk ensued. Nothing much, just chit-chat about work, his and mine, fishing, family. He made a few jokes here and there, and for a few brief moments, I let go of the past and found him amiable and even funny. For a little while, he became a person, just a man. Do you have any kids? I asked him. Yes, I do. I have 2 sons. I see them now and then, and if this had happened to one of them, I would have killed whoever did it, he said. He paused for a moment, then. At first I drank because I wanted to, because it was fun. Then I drank because I had to, because I became addicted. Then I drank to forget about what I did to your daughter, to you. But after a while, it didn't make any difference how much I drank. I hated myself, drunk or sober, and I was killing myself. So I finally quit. That was almost 10 years ago. He lit another cigarette, sipped his coffee, and looked down. So I've had 10 coherent years to think about you and your daughter. Once in a while, I'll talk to my wife about it, but most of the time, I just keep it to myself. I think about it every day and every night. I feel bad always. I try to rationalize always. And you don't know how many times I wished and prayed that it had happened to me instead of your little girl. I wish I could bring her back. And I have been praying that someday we could meet, because I really always wanted to tell you how sorry I am. It probably sounds stupid to you now, but I am sorry. I am so sorry for what I did. I wish it never happened. I am so sorry. He kept looking down. I wasn't expecting this. I couldn't believe my ears. For several more minutes, he continued to apologize. And then, I know this is crazy to ask, but do you think you could forgive me? Ever? I could see his sorrow. I could feel his sincerity, and there was a tiny voice whispering inside me to let it all go, to dump the pain, dump the hatred, to forgive him. Yet with each tinge of pity that I might feel for him, snapshots of a suffering Laura Lamb, a broken family, and the remains of my tattered heart pulsed through my body. If you forgive him, you are spitting in your daughter's face. A different voice in my head growled. I looked at him, and suddenly I saw my tiny baby smothered under tubes and wires, imprinted on his face. No, I won't forgive you. I don't forgive you now, and I doubt if I ever will, I whispered. I understand completely, Charles said. My husband changed the tone of the conversation again, and we chatted briefly. We all knew it was time to go. There was nothing left to say. We began saying our goodbyes, and I moved my chair back to get up. The lady and her 2 young boys in the corner booth stood up to leave too. The lady moved behind me, and I waited to let her pass by. She stopped behind my chair and began to speak in a savage voice. Me and my boys have been listening to your conversation, and you have some kind of example for them, she said, looking down at me. And they should have never let you out of prison. You should have rotted and died there, she sneered at Charles. He looked up at her, expressionless, motionless. She turned and walked away with her boys. I was shocked. I can't believe that. She had no right to be... I started to protest loudly, but Charles stopped me. It's all right, he said. I get it all the time. Oh, my God. He lives in his own hell every day, too. I gathered my things, said goodbye, and beat feet to the parking lot. I was looking for that woman. She had no right to butt into my conversation. What did she mean? I set some kind of example for her boys. I saw her pulling out of the parking lot. Her window was down. Hey! I hollered at her. Why don't you mind your own business, you fucking bitch? I screamed at her. She looked at me, stunned, mouth gaped open, and drove away. What are you doing? Why are you yelling at her? And why are you protecting him? Ray yelled at me. She had no right to say those things. That's a terrible thing to say to me, and to him too. What are you talking about? She was saying that you set a good example for her boys, not a bad one. And why are you protecting him? He asked again. I don't know. It just wasn't right. I want to get out of here. I need a drink. Ray drove us back to our camp in West Virginia. I stared silently out the window for the whole trip. When we got there, I sat for nearly 3 hours in the RV and wrote down every word of our conversation that I could remember. Then I drank a 6-pack of Miller Lite and threw back a couple shots of Cold Absolute. That's the way I spent most of my summer. I tried to write the book, but every time I'd write a few pages, I'd have to throw back a few just to quell the ache, and then a few more. But I love beer and vodka too. Always have, and I always will. So what? I'm not hurting anyone, right? I'm not driving, so what's the big deal, right? Right. I tried a couple of different things to forget. I even tried going to church. I didn't want to go because I drank and cussed, and I always thought a person should clean up their act before they even try to go to church. But I liked it when I was a kid, so I thought I'd try it again. I heard about a church, Edgemere Church of God, behind Chesapeake Terrace Elementary School in Edgemere. So I asked my mom to go with me. Sure, she said. I tried not to drink too much the night before so I wouldn't smell like beer in church in the morning. We got there a little after 11 a.m. and the parking lot was packed. So were the pews. I was nervous, and I think my mom was too. There was at least 300 people milling around, shaking hands, hugging each other, smiling and laughing. I mean, who does that? To the right of the pulpit, a 5-piece rock band was playing music that didn't sound like church music, and to the left of the pulpit was a beautiful grand piano and several men sitting in big red leather chairs, talking and smiling. What kind of church is this? Mom asked me with a grin. I don't know, but so far I like the music, I told her. We found a seat near the front of the church. A beautiful blonde-haired woman with a cherub face stood behind the pulpit. She smiled so warmly and greeted everyone, and I was so happy to see a young woman as the pastor. With a flip of her hand, she started the band playing, and she began singing. Oh, my God! Listen to that toots sing! She's awesome, don't you think? I said to Mom, and she agreed. As I fumbled for the hymnal in front of me, my mom gave me a nudge. Look up there, she said. I looked up towards the front of the church and saw a huge white screen hanging 30 feet in the air, slowly unrolling. The words to the songs everyone was singing was on the screen. Oh, wow, this is great. This is like church karaoke, I smiled to my mom, and we both started singing. But not for long. I gave my mom a nudge in the arm. What? She said. Everyone's looking at you, I told her. Do you think it's my hat? She said. No. My jacket? Nope. Then what? I think it's your voice. I chuckled at her. Oh, I love my mom, but Miss Thang cannot sing. Oh, you, she smiled. She nudged me back, and we kept right on singing. Oi! We sang some foot-stomping, hand-clapping songs for quite a while, and everyone was having a great time. It was like a big party in the church, and it seemed like God was there as the guest of honor, too. Some people were waving their hands, some were dancing in place, while other people were sitting and praying quietly. Everybody was just doing their own thing. I'd never been in a church like this before. After the singing stopped, Pastor Howard Hancock took command of the pulpit, and he was terrific. He talked softly, then he'd get loud. He stood still, and then he'd get to stomping and slapping the pulpit, And by golly, there was no one sleeping in this church. His sermon was no nonsense and uplifting, but without condemnation. I liked it, but I wasn't sure I wanted to go back. This is a church that definitely takes some getting used to. Throughout the summer, though, I did go back to church. I don't know why. There were times when I didn't want to go, but found myself dressed up in my truck and on my way, drawn like a bear to a honey pot. I wanted it all, though. I wanted the church. I wanted all the nice people. I wanted the music. And I wanted my favorite bar and all the nice people in it, too. And I wanted my beer. After one Sunday service, I gingerly made my way up to Pastor Hancock and quietly and coyly asked him, Pastor, sir, do you think it's okay if I have a couple of beers a day? Well, he began with a big smile, we do not advocate drinking alcohol beverages, he told me. He was very Southern and he had a big drawl. Well, Pastor, how about just a couple of beers on the weekend? I asked. Well, actually, no. We do not advocate drinking just a couple of beers on the weekend. He smiled warmly at me. Then I put my forefinger and thumb close together, held my hand next to my mouth, and asked, Pastor, how about just a tiny bit of beer now and then? He started laughing, but held fast. No, ma'am, not even a tiny bit. Well, I really need my beer every now and then, I told him. He stretched another big smile across his face and looked me square in the eyes. Don't worry, God'll take that need away from you. Yeah, right, I thought. I thanked him for his time and drove home. On the way, I decided I would try to find a church that wouldn't mind if I had a few beers every now and then. It was the end of summer, and I was glad to start teaching again, trying to write the book, meeting Charles Meade, and refusing his plea for forgiveness. All of it drained me. Teaching would rejuvenate me, and going to grad school would occupy my mind. I couldn't wait to begin a new semester. But the summer had one more surprise for me. On Monday, the 26th of August, about 9:30 in the morning, the visitor came. No invitation was sent. No appointment was made. The visitor entered my office without notice. After 20 minutes with the visitor, I had to tell my mom what was going on. Mom, look at me. Do you see something? Look at my face. What do you see? I was breathless with excitement. Are you all right? What are you talking about? Why are you crying? My mom asked me, confused. I don't know, I said, wiping tears. I was working on a new syllabus for class, and I got this funny feeling, this weird feeling that something was around me or near me. Then it felt like whatever it was drilled a tiny hole on the very top of my head, and then it whatever it was, it entered into my skull like it was a power washer with white Pepto-Bismol, and it sprayed all over inside my brain, and then it kept spraying and spraying, only it felt warm, and it left a fresh blanket of like thick white paint inside. Then it gave me chills and made every hair on my body stand on end and made my eyeballs flood with whoopee water, not tears. And I couldn't stop talking. I couldn't stop trying to describe to her what I felt, what had just happened to me. And every time I said a sentence, I could hear myself, and I sounded crazier and crazier with every sentence. I kept right on babbling, hoping she wouldn't think I was crazy, hoping she would somehow understand and, I don't know, still love me. How long did it last? She said. It's still going on, but it was much more intense for the first 20 minutes or so. I thought I was going to explode. Then I thought maybe it was my hormones or menopause. But it can't be menopause because no one would ever complain if menopause felt like this, I told her. Then I kept trying to analyze it and figure it out and pretend nothing was happening. And I tried to ignore it, but I couldn't ignore it. I can't ignore it. Whatever this is real. This is physical. This is... I gotta sit down. She sat with me at the kitchen table. I feel like Dorothy when she came home from Oz, I laughed. What do you think it is? My mom asked. I think I know what it is, but I'm afraid to say it. Why are you afraid? She asked me. Because if it's what I think it is, I'm in for a big change. Something's going to happen. Things are going to change, and I don't want them to change. What is it? She said, holding my hands. I just couldn't speak for a while. Then I looked her straight in the eye. And I finally said what I didn't want to say and what I didn't want to happen because I knew things would never be the same again. I think it's God. She hugged me tight and still loved me. What's all this God stuff going on with you? What are you talking about? What happened? My brother Steve popped in to see me a few days later. He was asking questions before he even got through my office door. Well, hello to you too. Are you being sarcastic or do you really want to know? I said. I'm asking you a question, Steve said. He was serious. He pulled up a chair and pulled out his cigarettes. For the next hour or so, I told him what had happened, and he sat and listened. He had lots of questions, and I told him I had lots of questions too. So a person who believes in Christ gets to go to heaven and be with God for all eternity. What do you do for all eternity once you get there? Steve wanted to know. I don't know, Steve. I just started reading the Bible myself, and right now I don't know my Exodus from my axe hole. I laughed. You wouldn't believe the stuff in there. You should read it. You would like it just from the historical perspective. You've always been so adept with stuff like that, I urged him. Yeah, whatever, he said, and took another puff of his cigarette. Are you going to shave your head and wear a pink robe and work at the airport? He laughed. I might. I look pretty good in pink, I told him. I have a question for you, and it's a big one, I said to him. I told you that at the beginning of summer, I met with a drunk driver that hit Laura and me, right? Yeah. And I told you he asked me to forgive him, and I told him no, right? Yeah. Do you think I should forgive him? I asked my brother. Do you feel like you want to forgive him? Steve asked me. Well, it's been a couple of months this thing happened with God, but that didn't make any difference to me. I still hated him. Then I met this girl at church named Gail, and we talked about it for a long time. She made a lot of sense, and then I've read and reread books about forgiveness, and a lot of that makes sense to me, but I still hate him. I loathe him. And I'm not going to pretend to forgive. I just can't. I'm not going to pretend to forgive to please the Bible or the church or righteous people. I just can't. You lived with me and Laura. You took care of her. You loved her so much. What do you think? I asked him. So don't forgive him. Just keep reading and maybe things will change, he said. Well, that's just it, I began, excited again. Last Saturday, I had a class at Towson State, and when I was pulling into the parking lot, I heard this guy on the radio talking about forgiveness, something about that if God can forgive me for the inexcusable things I have done, which are pretty damn wretched, then I should. And ba-bam, ba-bam, bam, just like that. It fused a concrete highway and made perfect sense between my head and my heart all at once. And I felt like 20 tons of rusted rebar were released, lifted off of me. And I got the get out of prison card and call him now. You want to forgive him. He picked up the phone and handed it to me. What are you waiting for? He said. From my journal, dated Sunday, November 17th, 2002. This was a huge day for me. I went to church this morning, drove to Frederick to meet Charles Meade again, drove back to church to get baptized that night, and then had a big baptizing party at my house. I was nervous all the way to Denny's, that same Denny's in Frederick, where I had met Charles Meade for the first time in June. I drove in silence, thinking about Laura, wondering what she was doing in heaven today, wondering where she was in the cosmos, wondering what she thought of this. Charles was sitting at the end of the counter near the door in Denny's and was wearing a crisp red plaid shirt. I recognized his full head of silvery hair right away. He told me he was happy to see me again. How's the book coming along? He asked. Pretty good. It's real hard for me to work on, but that's not why I'm here, I said. It's not? Charles asked me. No. When I called him to set up the meeting, I never told him why I wanted to see him again. A lot has changed since the last time I saw you, I began. A whole lot. I was just sitting at my computer one day in August, and something came inside of me, and on and on and on I went, giving him my blow-by-blow description about my big epiphany. I wasn't even halfway through telling him about my wonderful experience when I stopped right in the middle of it, looked him right in the eyes, those deep, dark caves, and said, I guess what I want to tell you, what I'm trying to say, Charles, is that I forgive you with all my heart. He looked at me and then down at the floor. He took a deep, long breath, held it, and when he let it out, that breath hit the floor like a building. It was audible. His shoulders slumped forward, like it was the very last breath he had to give. I will never forget the sound of that one breath leaving his body, that massive thud. You will never know what you have done for me. I could never have the same kind of pain that you and your daughter went through, but you will never know what this means to me, he told me. He kept taking heavy breaths, putting his head down and shaking it back and forth. His right hand was on the counter. I put my left hand on top of his hand, and I squeezed it. And I want you to know that I'm not forgiving you because I think this will get me a one-way ticket to heaven to see Laura again, or for any other reason than I feel it in my heart, I told him. I started shaking inside and outside. We have something in common, I told him. Pain. We both have had immense pain in our lives. I think it's time we dumped it. I'm dumping my pain right here, right now, at the counter of Denny's in Frederick. And I want you to do the same, Charles. He nodded, his head still down. We have something else in common, he said. I got a God, too. I don't go to church or nothing like that. But that doesn't mean my God isn't just as real as yours. He was adamant about this. I've asked my God to forgive me, and I believe he has. but there hasn't been one day that's gone by in 10 years since I got sober that I didn't pray to my God and ask for you to come here and forgive me. That's what I've been praying for. Oh, God. Oh, this blew me away. This blew me away. I was freaking out and covered with goosebumps, head to toe. You know something, Charles? Maybe I'm here because God is answering your prayers. Does that flip you out or what? I chuckled. Then I felt a lifting. I felt high, really high, higher than anything I have ever felt. Charles clasped my hand with both of his and looked me in the eyes and said, "Thank you." We were both quiet for a while, just sitting and sipping coffee. I gotta go back now. I'm getting baptized in my church tonight, I told him excitedly. That's wonderful. Congratulations, he smiled. We got up and walked outside. He lit another cigarette, and we both looked up at the cold, gray sky. It's over, Charles, I told him. We lightly hugged each other's shoulders, and I went home.